What is up, everybody, and welcome to a very special live stream here on Carlos Collects Comics. I'm Carlos. I'm going to be your host tonight, and I'm going to be joined by the great JT Comic Books and two very special surprise guests. Thanks for tuning into this. We normally don't do a lot of live streams, or haven't over the past few months done a lot of live streams on Friday night, but this is kicking off some Friday night videos we'll be doing over the summer and beyond. So I'm excited that each one of you is here hanging out with us. Real quick, a couple of shout outs to our channel sponsors. Let me pull this up real quick here. All right, first up, Lone Star Heroes Comics and Toys. 3 convenient locations in the greater Houston area: Galveston, Lake Jackson, and NASA El Lago. If you're looking for a local comic shop in the greater Houston area, or you're going to be visiting here on a vacation this summer, make sure and stop by one of them. Each one of his locations is its own unique mom and pop shopping experience. Plus, they don't just grab a few random books from each run, they buy whole runs so you can find all the numbers you need to fill out your own comic collection. Lone Star Heroes Comics and Toys. You can find their information in the video description below. And you can also check them out over on Instagram as @LoneStarHeroes Comics. Thanks to them for sponsoring this video, as well as Comic Pressed Niche Worldwide. You can see them for all your comic book pressing and cleaning needs. They also do CGC submissions because they're a CGC authorized dealer. They're currently our channel partner and highly recommended. We've got more details coming soon about how Carlos Collects Comics subscribers and channel members can receive a very special offer, i.e. discount code. So make sure you're tuning in for that and hanging out. So, hey, welcome to this special live stream. Tonight, it's going to go for about 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm going to be sharing a whole bunch of tips based on pre-submitted questions, as well as any questions that you might have, because the biggest goal for tonight's video is to make your next or first comic convention experience even better. That's the whole goal. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this, because I want you to have a great comic experience based on a bunch of stuff that I've learned over the period. JT's got some questions because this is going to be his first time at Fan Expo Dallas. So we're going to go over those. And some people have even submitted via Instagram and said, hey, can you cover this particular thing? Including the subject, how to sell at a comic convention. That's right. I'm going to cover a couple of tips for that as well. So because I know some of you might say, hey, I want to go to a comic convention and sell some comic books or set up a booth, and I'll give a couple of tips there as well. So, hey, thanks so much for being here tonight. I'm glad that you're here. I'm going to roll these credits, and then we're going to get things started. All right. Hey, welcome back. I'm so excited that y'all are here hanging out in the chat. Make sure and smash that like button so that we can get this shared out and let everybody know what's up real quick. To those who are hanging out in the chat, make sure and say hi in the chat if you're watching. Las Cruces, hello from Texas, back at you, buddy. Good to have you hanging out with us. Meatwad number 1, the very real, very alive Meatwad number 1. It's good to see you as well. El Green Machine, channel member, hanging out with us tonight as well. Let me go and also bring out JT Comics so he can say hi to everybody and just kind of share a little bit about maybe his comic experience and a really cool part of the comic community. I'm going to ask him, put him on the spot and ask him to share just a little bit about the Comic Book Fiend Club. So JT.
What's going on, Comic Book fam? It's your boy JT Comic Books, man. I'm happy to be here on Carlos Collects. So ready to get started. I guess he wants me to talk about the Fiend Club. Of course, Comic Book Fiend Club is a social organization where members come together, guys, girls, it doesn't even matter what you identify as. It's just people who love to collect, who love to connect to each other. We have chapters all over, again, Midwest, South, West Coast. So there's members everywhere. So if you're looking to get into that, talk to a member. Also, you can go to the website. It's comicbookfiendclub.com.
Awesome. Now, man, so JT, real quick also, because I love having you on for a live stream like this, because this is going to be your first bigger comic convention.
Yes.
So why don't you just share, just like in a couple of sentences, maybe what your comic convention experience has been to date?
Okay, so honestly, the only comic convention I have been in, because I started collecting during the pandemic time, so there was nothing around me. And then being in Houston, it's the small cons. Bedrock has a little con. We've been to a brewery, so they had that. I've been to that before. Real small. I think it only had one artist there.
Okay.
And the one we all went to, I can't remember what it was called. You got all those G.I. Joe books signed. I remember that.
Yeah, you remember
that.
That
was my first con. That con. That was an awesome con.
Yeah, it's okay. So it was. Let me see if I can get the name right. It was. Wait, no, I'm wearing the shirt for it. Actually, even I don't think they didn't have a second year, but it was pop culture power show. Pop culture power show was the name of it, and I just called it Strictly Con because it was that Strictly. Yeah, I was just that's what I called it. But yeah, okay, so you went to that one, and yeah, that was a smaller, homegrown kind of grassroots show, and so it's mainly been smaller ones that you've been to.
Yeah, I've only been to small ones, never been to a big one, so this will be my first time.
Okay. So for those who are unfamiliar, what we're doing tonight is we're using Fan Expo Dallas, which is coming up in about a week. We're going to use that as our case study for how to prepare for a comic convention. And so JT is going to be there hanging out with me. I'll be there, Paul, Mr. Collector, a bunch of the faces that you're used to seeing on the channel and other channels. They'll all be there. So we're going to, there's a bunch of people going that I know of. Southern Comic Geek, Shelby's Comics, they're all going to be there. So, and so JT, this is going to be his first year going to this convention. And what I would say is, Fan Expo Dallas is a larger medium-sized convention. It's not like San Diego Comic Con or like the biggest ones, but it's definitely a full-size convention, and they are packed with creators. And that's going to be one of the things we talk about is, if you're into signatures, how to decide what to get, like who to get to sign your stuff and all that. So I figured we would just dive into it, and we would just go kind of chronologically through the different areas. The first thing that we're talking about is the prep and decision making before the convention. The biggest tip that I have learned is that the earlier you start to prepare for the convention, the better off it's going to be. Now, granted, if you end up going at the last minute, that's totally okay. But the earlier you can start, the better. Because I think, so one of the questions that was submitted, because we had some questions submitted ahead of time. And so one of the questions that was submitted was, let's see. So asking about how much are tickets in advance versus show day difference. If you could go only one day, what day should you pick and why? If you're staying just a day, where can you park? There's a question about shuttles. And then, let's see, there was another new one. Okay, there was asking a question about a map. And how to get the map. Okay, so the earlier to start, the better in choosing, choosing the convention. And I think choosing the convention, JT, I love what you've done because you started with a couple of smaller local cons. Mm-hmm. And now you're moving into a much larger convention that's out of town. So that adds a whole bunch of extra stuff. Like for the local conventions that are in town, you can always drive back home if you forgot. Like at worst case scenario, you could always drive back home, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. But when you're out of town, you got to think of a couple extra things. You can't just, especially so from Houston to Dallas, we're about 3.5 to 4 hours, depending on how you drive, away from the convention itself. Right. The convention is going to be at a full-size convention center, the Kay Bailey Hutchison Convention Center, which does have at least one hotel attached to it. So when you're looking at tickets, obviously, the earlier the better, including when you purchase your tickets. You can save anywhere from $15 all the way up to $50 for a one-day pass if you buy it at the earliest available opportunity. So making a decision early on is always going to be the best bet. And the reason for that is it's not just the price of the convention, but it's also the price of the lodging. I last year at the last minute had to change up where I stayed, and we ended up we couldn't stay at the convention hotel because it was full up. They had no more rooms. Period. The year before we'd booked at the last minute and were able to get there, and that was like bliss because all we had to do was take an elevator from our hotel room down, walk across the sky bridge, and we're there. We're in the convention. So depending on what your budget is and your physical fitness level is, if you choose to stay at the convention hotel, that can really be that can be a help because you can change out your like what you're carrying with you like 3 times a day. You can also you can go upstairs, shower and change if you need to, like if it's too sweaty, like if you're getting sweaty. Remember one year, the Friday of the convention, the AC wasn't working right. And that was kind of getting miserable towards the end of the day. Yeah, people were getting kind of grimy and there was a funk in the air. And, that was kind of, so I was glad that I was able to go upstairs and change and freshen up a little bit. But yeah, picking your lodging ahead of time is helpful. This year for like us, we're making it a family trip. So we're going to be actually staying at an Airbnb off-site, and it's like a half an hour. I think it's like 25, 30 minutes away. So my wife has no interest in coming. So she's actually be driving me over, dropping me off, and then she'll come over and pick me. Yeah. And the shuttle/Uber thing is definitely viable. There was also a question about shuttles. Depending on what hotel you stay at, they might have a shuttle, but I would not count on shuttles. For parking, there's at Fan Expo Dallas, there's valet parking at the Omni Dallas Hotel, which is the one that connects to it via the convention center via Skybridge. So that's a good one to consider. You can valet park for a full 24 hours at a nearby hotel for the convention, whatever the convention is, and that might be a way to keep your car ready so you don't have to deal with your car, and because parking will be an issue. I remember for us, like you're going to pay at Fan Expo Dallas, taking your car to the convention site, you will pay for parking. So, figuring out like an off-site parking situation and a ride back and forth can be helpful depending on where you're staying. Also remember Uber and Lyft. Lyft has a little bit lower pricing, but Ubers and Lyfts are going to be your friend, and they're a huge help when you're if you're staying off-site at a different hotel. The Omni Dallas, I think for the single room rate was like $265. So it's a little bit pricey if you're going to stay 2 or 3 nights. Like that's more than we're paying for a whole house for an Airbnb.
Right.
So I mean, so I remember I looked at those numbers and I thought of trying to cram the whole family into one of those rooms, and I was like, because in the past I've just taken like one or both of the boys, and that's that's comfortable. You can you can deal with that, but me, my wife, the girls, and the dog, both girls and the dog, I was like, no, and I don't even think they're pet friendly. So yeah, so I was just like, we're going to do an Airbnb, and then that allows my wife to relax and to hang out because she enjoys it. Yeah, so that and it was pretty affordable because we went further away from the site, so we got an affordable one, because we're on a real tight budget. But I told her, I said, let's make it a whole family thing, and I'm only going to go for certain chunks of time. So JT, I want you to jump in, man, and see like anything I've said that brings up a question for you, or.
Not yet. I like just the thing you said about offsite, and that right there.
Yeah.
Wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah,
Wear
yeah.
that.
We're gonna get to attire. Yeah, we'll get to attire in a bit because I know you were wondering about cosplaying, right? Also,
Yeah, I wanted to see if Carlos was going to cosplay.
right. Yeah, no. So yeah, okay. So let's finish So as far as prep, doing it in advance and kind of having a game plan, that's helpful, especially because it'll take care of your lodging. Also, kind of think through in your mind, okay, meals, and connect with other people. I think a group of people might go to dinner on Friday night, but I don't know what the plan is or if there's a plan or anything. I may just message people and say, hey, do y'all want to grab dinner? And just whoever shows up, shows up. All the restaurants connected directly to the convention center and hotel are very pricey. So that's just a heads up that it's.
Come in.
Not, yeah, I'm going to bring you on in just a minute, okay? So the girls are here. And like I said, there's going to be a couple special guests. So the girls are here, and they're actually going to pop in for a minute. They are out of school now for the summer, so they can stay up a little bit later. Come here. All right, this is Amy.
She's our youngest.
She's the youngest. All right, she's 9. Okay, all right, okay. Hey, okay. We've got a lot of sugar today. The end of school parties, man. This is Scarlett right here. She's our 10-year-old. She'll be 11. This is Mr. JT.
Hi.
And then there's people watching too right now. Shout out to Canadian Survivalist and Mr. Collector for popping in. So these two will be going to the convention as well. And I actually had, starting with the prep, the early prep, you can have an idea of by prepping early, you can actually come up with cool little things. So the two of them, they like Blue Beetle.
We love.
Yeah, they love the Blue Beetle movie. So they're each
amazing.
Hey?
So they're each going to get a copy of the Blue Beetle comic book, the variant, because the co-creator of Blue Beetle is going to be he's going to be there at the convention. So I told them I get a.
We're gonna go.
Okay, you can go back upstairs.
Yeah. Call us when it starts. Then we'll be
It's going.
It's going.
It's live right now.
Uh,
All right. They've been up there with their cousin, just hanging out
having fun for the summer, yeah.
But yeah. So I'm even I'll cover a couple of tips for taking kids because they're 9 and 10. Last year we had last year was a little bit rough at a couple of the conventions that we went to because I took them each for a couple of hours and that was a little bit hard. Okay, so starting your prep ahead of time. I think I showed this. I don't know if I showed it live on the stream, but part of the prep for doing it is if you're this next few minutes is about signatures. If you're a big signature person and you want to get your comic books autographed, that's another thing to start early ahead of time. So this entire short box here, started prepping this about 3 months ago to take over there with me. Now, signatures, you can expect Fan Expo Dallas is still, as of right now, not. What's up, Shelby? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for dropping in. So Fan Expo Dallas, as of this past weekend, had not updated their website with pricing for autographs for the comic creators. You can find autographs for a lot of the celebrities that are there, but for the comic creators, they hadn't updated. I'm opening it up right now to see. There's still nothing there for Andy Kubert, who's one of the headliners.
That's the one I really need.
Yeah. Art Adams. Yeah, no.
Art Adams.
What do you do when the convention hasn't told you how much it's going to be? Which that happens a lot. It happens a lot. Because, and the reason is because a lot of times the creators don't want to tell them and us ahead of time because they want to get there and see what everybody else is charging. You know,
okay.
Hey, I'm going to do it for $10 and everybody else is charging 20. So that gives them and so I've even gone to, at some conventions, I've seen people who have their little price list sheet has like had lines scratching stuff out and they've written new pricing in, both down and up. It go. So the rule of thumb when it comes to collecting autographs at a convention is budget for $20 per signature. They're not all going to be like that, and they're going to they're not all going to be that price. They're going to vary wildly. Like I know the only published pricing I'd seen for Frank Miller was $150 for a Frank Miller experience, and you only got one signature with that, but you also got like a poster and a comic and stuff. I didn't want any of that. I just wanted his signature on 2 hardcover books. So I'm probably not going to get Frank Miller's signature there. Now, with these headline people like him or Jim Lee, other ones where it's more than $20, what I've started doing is I've just started using hardcover books. This is the book that I was going to have Frank Miller sign. This is the complete Frank Miller Batman. This was published back in the early 90s, I think.
Nice.
And so I was going to have him sign that. Part of the reason as a cost-saving measure because he's just so expensive and it's hard to find him. And I said, if I tried to get him to sign every copy, like every issue from Daredevil Born Again, I mean, I'm looking at like a ton of money.
Yeah.
So, and then like for Jim Lee also, I had him sign a couple of single issues, but I had him sign my Batman Hush Unwrapped. Jeff Loeb will be at Fan Expo Dallas, so I'm going to have Jeff Loeb sign this also. So this will be signed by the artist and the writer. But it's only one issue instead of, again, paying for the entire run.
Right.
The only exception to that. So I've seen Jim Lee at I think 3 different conventions or signings. I've seen Jim Lee, and I've had him sign some individual issues. So this one is signed by Jim Lee, and it's part of the Hush run. It's a fold-out cover. So this one, depending on Jeff Loeb's pricing, I may also have him sign this and another book that Jim Lee also signed, which is this one. I just love this cover of Batman and Nightwing running into battle. So I have these 2 signed by Jim Lee, and I had these signed in 2017, right after Hurricane Harvey. Jim Lee came and did a free signing. You could get him to sign 2 things, and I had him sign 2 of these items. So that's the situation. Like for each person, it's going to come down to your individual budget that you're working with. Mm-hmm. Like this year will be the lowest and tightest budget I've ever worked with in any time that I've been to a comic convention. I think last year I spent one convention. I think I spent almost $1,000. That was the one where Larry Hama was signing. I spent almost $1,000 on stuff at the convention. Yeah. I mean, that was a lot. That was a lot. And I spent more than I expected to. The Fan Expo Dallas that year, I spent probably about $600 on signatures. And that was, I bought 2 of the Jim Lee experiences, they were $99 a piece, and you got him to sign 3 things. Plus you got a real nice 2x3 foot print that he had signed. So that was I thought that was kind of cool. To me, that was a good deal. A lot of people that have been doing conventions much longer have said that that's still expensive, but it is what it is. Hey, everybody. So Shelby says they usually do not post these prices. In past years, they have. Let's see. Usually first few are free and expect $10 or so after that. That's not been my experience at Fan Expo Dallas. I've paid as low as $5. and then I've paid as high as $20 or more per signature. Now, here's the big difference. Some of them, if they inscribe the autograph, they will do that for free. So like this, Jim Lee made this out. Now he charged no matter what, so I wouldn't get around it. But some of them, if you catch them at the table and they're going to inscribe it, they will do it for free or for a cheaper price. So that's something to keep in mind. Like this one is inscribed. All my hardcover books are inscribed. Single issue comics, I never have those inscribed because at the end of the day, whether it's me or my family, somebody will be selling those comic books. And so I just made the decision a long time ago. I'm not going to have inscriptions on single issues, only on collected issues. That's why if I have my choice, the only thing I'm getting signed is a collected edition. You know, I might have a couple of signatures done for like single issues here and there, but I've largely shifted away from that just, you know, because it's expensive. Yeah. It's super, super expensive. So if you're not getting it inscribed, if it doesn't matter to you and you want to get it inscribed, you will probably get it for free or cheaper. All right. So bottom tier collector says, hello, getting these tips just in time. I'll be at Iron City Comic Con in Birmingham, Alabama tomorrow. Nice. I am not totally concerned with value, but I only take keys or special covers to get. Yeah. Here's the thing. It's gotten so expensive, especially if you're going to get the book graded. Now, that's a whole different level. Most creators now, if they charge more, sometimes double, if it's getting witnessed by CGC, and then at that point they're gonna charge more because they've just like what's happened is the flippers have kind of ruined it for everybody. So like if you're somebody like me who likes signed comic books, and back when I could afford to get them graded, I would do it with some of them, right? But now it's like, man, it's usually between $60 and $70 to get the book, a signature series book, graded, shipped, handled, all of it. And that's if you don't get it pressed from CGC. So the reality is that if you're a signature person, our options have become a little bit more limited, but there's workarounds. And I'm a huge believer in, you know, if you're not looking to sell the book, and again, remember, my channel, it's aimed mainly at those folks who are collectors and readers, people who are looking to try to, you know, make a flip on it and earn back some money on it. Man, those margins are super, super tight now. It's very difficult to make it work, and you have to walk in with a huge wad of cash to be able to do it. I know a lot of guys who do it, and hey, man, do your thing. But I've just looked at it and I've said, man, bankrolling that, you know, they're looking at profit margins of less than 20%. And that's not even a business. So, I mean, yeah. So for me and for other collectors and readers, the hardbound, and I do suggest if you're going to pay and have them sign a book for you, go ahead and spring for the hardbound. I had these two hardbound books already. I started, you know, again, this is the benefit of planning like far in advance. About 4 months ago, when Frank Miller got announced, I started looking for a hardback copy of Daredevil Born Again. Well, Amazon had this oversized gallery edition. It's a $50 book. I was watching it for a couple months, and it went on sale for 50% off. So nice. I got this $50 book for $26 on Amazon. Free shipping, 2 days, and it was in really good shape. So I bought this, but I left it wrapped in case I decided to return it. But I love the story so much, even if I don't get Miller to sign it, which I'm probably not going to get him to sign it. Even if I don't get him to sign it, I'm probably still going to keep this because it's just a really nice addition. So yeah, so for me, one of the big cost savings, again, collected editions. If you're doing single issues, then it comes down to what is that, you know, think through what is that book currently doing and what is the, like in the market, and what is the artist charging, you know? So like a cover artist like David Nakayama, I have a ton of his books that I'm taking with me This is one of the most popular ones.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm taking a ton of his books because if he's $20 or cheaper, or if I get a chance to talk to him and he decides to sign a few for free for giveaways, then yeah, I'm absolutely going to have him sign some extras. That's what I've had Frank Cho, James Tinian, a bunch of these other guys do. John Boy Myers has hooked it up before. Some of these guys are really cool if you have the chance to talk to them, but you can't do that if you're in line and there's 30 people behind you, or there's a bunch of people behind you, you don't get to have those conversations with them. It just really depends on the individual artist and how many people they have, because they appreciate a little bit of chit chat and stuff. No, I do not stand there and monopolize their time like Paul says. I absolutely don't do that. And he loves to say that I do that, but I don't. He's the one that kind of creeps around their tables. And all right, Bob here says, I don't do the CGC witness. It feels pretentious, but I don't judge people who do that. Hey, for some books, to be honest, it is worth it because you should go ahead and consider doing that. I've got one of my books here.
But CGC is not going to be there, right? They won't be there.
How do I answer this on a live stream? Officially, CGC will not be present. However, if you would like to get books graded, send me a direct message. It's the best I can say. I know people who will be there, but I don't think there's an official booth. So yeah, but there will be people there, and it will not affect the integrity of the CGC signature series. So just so y'all know, so nobody adds me or sends me an ad or an email or something. All right, so here's the deal. This is one of my prize signature series because Al Milgram, he signed the mess out of this book. Like, he indented the front cover on it, but I got him to sign it. It has not been pressed, so this is the one book I might submit. I also have a super high grade copy of it here that I might have signed because Klaus Janson, who did work on this book, is going to be there at the convention. So if I could have this cracked and submitted for a press and then add Klaus Janson to the signature. The same for this one. I could have him sign this one as well. But the thing is, this is a very high grade. Like, this is at least a 9.6 as is. So I don't know if I want a signature on it because, remember, sometimes I might, I'm happy with something like this, but all right, people are there and all right, okay, let's see. I wanted to spark conversation with Joe Rubenstein a month ago. He was having a great conversation with the couple in front of me and paused to sign my stuff. I just thanked him for his work and left. Oh, man, and that's the thing. Other people sometimes will have conversations going on, and it can be awkward. And what I would say is, if you have the 3-day pass, just do the 3-day pass and go by on a Friday. And then you can go back as well. Do you want to come say hi to everybody? No. You sure? My niece is here too. My niece she started getting into comic convention. The girls, my girls are not okay. Hey, stop! Don't do that. All right, okay. So real quick, so we got some questions here in the chat. So yeah, I mean, just try to strike up a conversation, or if there's a crowd or people there, go run somewhere else and then come back to it. But that's the beauty of going to a comic convention. All right. So, okay. Shelby's Comics says, what do you use to haul around the box at the convention? So that box never goes to the convention floor. That is the box that travels from Houston to Dallas. And I told myself, because the past few years, I've taken at least 3 short boxes full of stuff, all kinds of stuff. I could have opened a comic shop with the amount of stuff I took. So what I do now is I don't. The only thing I take onto the convention floor is a good backpack. This is an Under Armour that I've had for a few years. It's got multiple compartments. I do not take any electronics with me other than a cell phone. And if you're making a list of things to take to the convention, a really good backpack is one of them. You want to get one with a padded back, multiple compartments, and has all the different stuff. And you want to make sure it's got holders for bottles of soda or water on the sides of it. In addition, I will put inside of that 2 store folios. So the store folios will be full of individual raw books, and then I'll put this backpack fits 2 of these. So I'll put, and then Press Niche Worldwide was nice enough to give me a Carl's Collects Comics one. So I'll put these 2 inside of that. Then in the laptop pouch, I can fit the hardcover books, because remember, do not take a laptop with you. Do not take an iPad with you. The only thing you should take is your phone, and do not keep the phone in your backpack. Keep the phone on your person at all times, because there was one time when, and this was like years and years ago, I forgot my backpack on the back of a chair, and I ran back and it was still there. Thankfully, it was still there. So, but yeah, these go in the laptop pouch, like these bigger hardcovers. The other thing is I will put slabs in the laptop pouch compartment, but never slabs with the hardcover books. Now, if you happen to live in California or Las Vegas, Torpedo Comics makes these really cool CGC hard cases. It fits 1 book. So if you have to take a graded book onto the convention floor with you, it fits inside of this and closes, and it's a magnet side. So this thing is armored. Okay, it's not getting cracked or scuffed in this. So that's one strategy that I'll use, because I'm really only taking 1 graded book that I'm going to crack, and that I might crack. I don't even know if I'm going to do it. I'm going to wait and see how much Klaus Janson is charging, and plus the CGC on top of it, and then I'll make the final decision. The other big thing, remember, keep your cell phone on your person at all times, but you still want to be carrying, you want to carry both a full-size cell phone charger with you. You also want to carry a battery backup system with you on top of that, both at the same time.
Glad you said that.
Go ahead.
No, I say I'm glad you said that. I didn't even think of that. Having that charger. Yeah.
Because the thing is, every plug in that place is going to have like 15 people gathered around it. And so it may take you a while to find a plug that's open. So this thing is a lifesaver, and make sure you have all your necessary cords, because this has its own cords. It's not compatible with this. You got to check all this stuff and make sure that you're good to go. The other thing, this is another pro tip, is take your own markers or signing instruments. All right. What I found at the dollar store, the old school pencil bags, get you one of these. I have like 5 of these. Get you one of these. And then I put my loose Sharpies inside of it. I happen to like the metallic ones because they look cooler when they're on the signature. I also have with me, that I carry with me, a package of paint markers. Now, the brand that I recommend is 1 for all. That's the word 1, the number 4, and then all. This is the brand that I recommend. Remember, with paint markers, you'd still have time to order one, or I can let you borrow it. But remember, with paint markers, it's not the same as Sharpies. You have to prime them. All right, so this, just keep that in mind about paint markers. But I'll tell you, the look of paint markers, if you match the colors well, which sometimes I have, sometimes I haven't, I've messed up some books. I mean, not messed up, that you can still see the signature and everything, but so I keep all those in a separate bag, and that goes in the backpack with me. And then, if you have your own, because everybody's got their own YouTube channel and Instagram brand and whatever. If you have your own, carrying a pack of stickers, like I just ordered a whole new pack of stickers yesterday. It's supposed to get here on Thursday. If it doesn't, I have a bunch to take with me, because that's a great calling card to pass out. Business cards and flyers, I wouldn't waste money or time on it if you have a brand. I considered coasters, but those get thrown out at the end of every day, so I wouldn't waste money on that either. I still think stickers, especially if you can get the ones with the QR code on them, that best bang for your buck. All right, so we covered a lot of ground here. JT, let's see. Okay, if you could go only one of the questions asked, if you could go, so yes, to answer Shelby's question, I use a backpack. Mr. Collector says Paul gets those 1-in-1 restraining order signatures. Yeah, especially the females. Amen on that backpack. Hands-free is the way to be at a con. That's true. Yep. Okay, yeah. Mr. Collector says keep hand sanitizer also on you. Going through comic book boxes all day is very dirty. That is correct. Okay, so real quick. So he brought up something, comic shopping. I think I covered most of what we had for the signature. What I do is I get it all down to this one short box. I will take the short box. I might get a dozen comics signed out of that. I'll do this. I'll do him as an example real quick. So Art Adams is going to be there. I've been chasing him for about 9 years now, 8 or 9 years. Always looking for him at a convention. He's never been at one that I was going to. So I'm really excited. So I have a lot of books. All right. This variant for Justice League of America, it's going, but it's not making the cut. I have two copies of Action Comics Annual #1, which features Art Adams' art doing both Batman and Superman. It's not a key book, so the book is super cheap. These are high grade. Here's the thing. I will get both of them signed if the price is cheap enough. All right. But then also 3 copies of Classic X-Men #1. Those are going. Those will all get signed. And then the rest of my stack, to be completely honest, the rest of my stack is all of the Art Adams covers from Classic X-Men. So the deal is these are probably not going to get signed. However, if I get there and Art Adams is just like, it says, hey, and we strike up a conversation and I tell him, who I am and what I do, like with the giving away comic books. And he says, hey, man, I'll cut you a deal. And I'll say, yeah, I brought a whole bunch of my Classic X-Men. I didn't know how much you were going to be. And he's like, you know what? Hey, I'll do them for $5 a piece because you're like a fan or whatever. And we had a good conversation. Yes, then I will get them. I will go ahead and get them signed. So that's why it pays sometimes to just have those extra books with you, because you definitely don't want to try to find the perfect book at the convention for signatures. You want to have the book with you ahead of time before you go. All right, so that's just using Art Adams as an example. All right, so that's all that stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, hey, what do we got here?
That's our Adams cover right there, too.
Nice. Yeah. That's a good book.
That one, and I'm taking this one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Scarlett had to come over here. She had to take a break from her cookie break and come check out the books you're getting signed.
Yeah.
What is that?
Chocolate.
Dude, they are straight up having a party over here. It's 9:50 at night, and these children are having chocolate and cookies.
Oh.
But we're at my grandmother's, so they're all here having a good time with the grandmothers. All right, so let's see what else we say. Okay, so bottom tier collector says amen on the backpack. Yeah, hand sanitizer. I mean, obviously stuff like toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant. You want to have that stuff, especially if you're taking advantage of photo ops. You want to check your teeth. You want to check your grill before you get that photo op. You don't want it to be immortalized with something in your teeth from lunch, especially because you're going to eat there. When it comes to food, I say just budget the money to buy from the food court. For a meal, per meal you want to have about $24 budgeted for food for a full meal at the food court. Because remember, you're going to be on your feet, so you want comfortable shoes, like really, really comfortable shoes. Don't buy a brand new pair of sneakers and that week, and then wear them at the convention. Your feet will be killing you. All right, so gel insoles, ankle braces, whatever you need to be comfortable, do it. You can even sometimes carry a spare T-shirt with you if you need to. You can change. I've never done that before, but I know people who have. Because some people will store stuff in the trunk of their car. Be careful with that when if you're doing that route, because you don't want people to, there might be people staking out the parking lot, and you don't want those people to see what you're putting in your car, because they might break into it and do it. So that's kind of the strategy and the idea with like gathering signatures. If you are comic shopping, remember, all right, the conventional wisdom used to be to look for the deals on Sunday. That's not always the case. Sometimes I've gotten my best deals on Friday. Sometimes, because before everything starts and the dealer is still trying to kind of figure out if it's going to be a good show or not. Because the thing is, midway through the day on Saturday is the worst time to try to bargain with a dealer. Friday and Sunday are the 2 days to go look at selling, at buying comics. I've also traded comics, but you have to be careful there because a lot of those, most dealers are not there to buy or trade comics. They're there to sell, to make cash back, to pay for the trip. Because remember, they're transporting all that stock. They're paying for the booth space. They're bringing employees. They're putting them up in hotels. They're paying for their meals. All that stuff they're having to pay for. So they're not looking to trade comics. Now, I've made some good trades on the show floor, but I'm just saying that, it is. Okay, let's see some more. Okay, Wolverado says chanclas are not recommended. Agree with that. All right, Mr. Collector says if you buy a water out there, they have refillable stations. So just be aware. Good pro tip. That's another good one. Yeah, if they let you in with a bottle of water, just keep refilling that thing. All right, bottom tier collector says sometimes a dealer will give you a now or never deal to move books. Doesn't matter. That's very true also. That is very true also. Here's the number one rule, or the two big rules. Number one, cash is always king. Once you pull out that wad of cash, that dealer they kind of start getting hungry. They start feeling the hunger pangs. They're like, okay, and be creative in making your deals, because remember, the more you buy, the better the deal. There's some dealers I know, I see them at every Texas show. This one guy, I love him. He'll say, hey, he'll get it. He'll flip through what you have, and then he'll just cut off like $10-20 without me even haggling or anything. He said, how does $20 sound? Done, on $30 worth of books. So there's that method. Another thing, I've gotten creative with making deals to get a G.I. Joe number 155 that they had on the wall for $130. And he had a whole bunch. I was trying to build the whole run. I saw the book on the wall. He had a whole bunch of them. And I said, hey, would you give me that? I looked at the book and it was a lower condition than he was grading it at, but you don't want to tell him that. So I said, hey, how about you give me the book for $90, but I will spend at least $130 total just on G.I. Joe books. I didn't try to get any other books. I just told him, I said, hey, I'm a collector. I'm trying to build my run. I'm not like, somebody trying to buy so I can flip it or any of that kind of stuff. I said, that's what it was. And he went for it. And I I got a whole stack of G.I. Joe books at his thing, and they were all in great condition and they were all underpriced. So, get creative in your deals, and the more you offer to spend, the better the deal will be. Again, cash is always king because it's simple and easy. Have your denominations broken up: hundreds, 50s, 20s, 10s, 5s. You probably won't need ones, but it's always good to have a few of them. All right. Mr. Collector says it's always good to have you and a buddy buy books at the same dealer. So this way you have a bundled deal that will benefit both of you. That's really good. I've never done that or heard that, but that actually is a really good deal. That sounds good. All right. Bottom tier collector says, I brought a card to my last convention because it's 2024 and one booth owner was fighting the debit card swipe charges and only took cash. he had to go to an ATM and eat that withdrawal charge. Yeah, you know, I've gotten lucky with PayPal and Cash App before, but I've got to tell you, carry cash for two reasons. Number one, because it's just easier to sell, to buy. Number two, though, it helps your budget. If you say, I only want to spend this much, it's harder. You make it harder for yourself to spend more than that. So, what's up, General Jedi? Good to see you hanging out in the chat. We're glad that you're here with us tonight. So we're coming up on an hour in. So it's been pretty good, I think. JT, what are you thinking, man? What other questions are you thinking about?
I think you've covered most of it. Let me see what else I had on here.
Yeah. There's a couple more submitted questions that came in. You can submit questions on Instagram also if you don't want to.
Yes, questions.
The what?
No, I was saying everybody submit some questions for Carlos.
Yeah. Okay, so here's another one. Okay, so if you could go only one day, what day would you pick and why? What I would say to that is that's going to be completely dependent on who you're going to see and what you want to get out of the convention. If you want the fullest just convention experience, Saturday is the day to go. If you're looking for really good deals on books, maybe you want to go all 3 days. If you're going to see a specific person like Frank Miller changed from Saturday only to Sunday only. So now anybody going to Fan Expo Dallas, if you want to get a signature from Frank Miller, and that's why their schedule was so late getting released, was because his schedule changed. So that made everything else change because he was the big marquee on Saturday. So it moved to Sunday, so they had to kind of switch things around. So if you're looking for so especially for Fan Expo Dallas and other larger conventions, they all generally have an app. So I highly recommend downloading the app. Okay. And so what you can do here is buy or upgrade tickets, special experiences, photo ops, autographs, and know before you go. So a lot of frequently asked questions for the specific convention will get answered on their website. But, who goes to websites? So download the app. It's free, and it gives you another thing because there on the bottom here, there is a schedule tab as well as a map tab. All right, so I know JT had asked about a map. There is a map of the entire floor that you can download, and you can see where everything is. So that's all on the app. The other thing, schedule. They have a complete schedule, and I'll say this: the Fan Expo Dallas app or all the Fan Expo apps are top notch. Not all conventions have this good of an app or website. But they do a really good job with it, and so it makes it easier to plan. So it's got the schedule Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it just starts going. So what I did, there's a little tab there that says My Schedule. So what I've done is I've gone through, so this is just my Friday. There's only 2 panels that I'm interested in, so I chose those 2. All right. Then Saturday, because I'll have the girls with me on Saturday, I added the Button Quest and Kids Zone, and then a couple of panels that they might be interested in. Sunday, I added 3 things, but I don't think we're even going to be there on Sunday. So as far as scheduling and planning, download the app and or go to the website and spend a little bit of time walking through what the panels are, because a big part of the convention experience isn't just going and meeting creators, getting signatures, and buying comic books. There's also some really cool panels where you can hear some of your favorite comic creators and other celebrities sharing about their experiences, answering fan questions like from you. You can get in line at most of them and ask a question and have them answer your question. And so that's another one of the great parts that I think sometimes can get overlooked, is that the convention experience is an entire experience. It's not just the exhibit hall. I was telling my girls that hey, there's more stuff to do than just the exhibit hall where you can buy stuff. Now obviously that's the most fun for all of us, but hey, there's some really great panels that I've sat in. Like last year I sat in the James Tinian panel, and he had all the artists from all of his books plus himself. That was a once in a lifetime kind of thing, because I don't think he's ever going to get all his artists together, like all his books. He had all the artists there lined up with him, and so it was cool because all 5 of them were just passing the mic back and forth based on questions from the audience. And James Tinian shared about like the genesis of certain ideas, and he shared some really deep stuff. So I was really glad that I was there, and I got to go over and say hi to him afterward and take a quick selfie with him. So, okay. Hello, Jagulat. It's good to see you also. Do you have any tips for negotiating wall books? Yeah, like I said earlier, try to bundle. Also, you got to look at. Okay. This is a big tip that I told my girls, and that I've tried to teach them. When whatever your first day and hour of the convention is, take a walk. Take a walk. Walk the entire exhibit hall and get the lay of the land. If you're after a certain book, kind of, mark which booths have what book you're looking for. Take a walk, see what all's out there. Because, the first booth you stop at, that guy might be like super, super stingy and not want to make a deal. But sometimes you can go to like a smaller booth, and if they've got better, like that guy might make a deal. I can tell you people that make really good deals. Rick's Comic Crypt, any convention in Texas, he's at most of them. Rick's Comic Crypt always makes great deals, and he has but like his stock is top notch. Trying to think of some others. The larger stores usually don't make as big deals with you. I've talked to some of them, and they're really there just to kind of put their brand out in front of people. They're not looking to make deals because it's expensive for them to go. But yeah, for wall books, bundle, pay cash, and check all the dealers first. All right, Wolverado says, with all that cash, how much does JT charge to walk around with you so you don't get robbed? Well, I think this is the first year that I'm not going to have a Marine personal guard with me, which is my son now. So I don't know. I'm going to have to see what I can give JT to provide personal security, especially when he's got his Comic Book Fiend Club vest on. I mean, dude, he looks like he's ready to rumble. All right, Mr. Collector says, I think that was a planned thing to help sell more tickets for Sunday or weekend passes. Originally, it was on Saturday. I think his schedule changed. It could have been a planned thing, but that's a really big change to make for that. So, I don't know. I don't know for sure. I know that the biggest, I'll put it this way. I know that the biggest headliner of the show, like of the comic show, I don't know if I would put him on the last day, because that's kind of scary to me. As a logistics person, I'd be a little bit scared, because I saw what happened last year with Hayden Christensen and how they had people out there waiting all day to get in for the photo ops and the signatures, and they massively oversold it. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be, but I don't know. Volunteer collectors, I do panels if it's a once in a lifetime or someone I'm a big fan of. Yeah, that's exactly the same for me. I think I'm going to go sit in on the Richard Dreyfuss one, because he's probably going to talk about the same stories I've seen on documentaries, but I'd still love to be there and just hear from him. Volunteer collector says, I've actually started doing that. It helps me move more efficiently. I forget what that was that he was talking about.
Probably talking about looking at the whole show first.
Yeah, it really does. And also, I think there's a psychological thing that you can do where if like people at booths and creators, if they see you multiple times, it brings down like kind of that natural wall that we have with brand new people. So you can actually, it kind of like it's a psychological thing. Somebody told me about it. If you pass by multiple times, say hey, or you stop by different times, it builds a quick relationship. So and it breeds a familiarity. So we've handled those. Let's see, JT. Oh wait, let me make sure there's no more questions. Waiting. Okay, Okay, wristbands and passes, don't lose them because the wristband has to be worn all weekend. The pass, you need to have it with you at all times. So I would just only take it off to shower and sleep. Why do people get celebs and actors to sign comics, and is it worth it? No. But the only time it's worth it is if it's a photo cover featuring that actor. Then it's worth it. Or, you might be just a huge fan, but I can't see any reason to have Robbie Amell sign Firestorm #1. Probably because most of the viewing audience doesn't even know who that is or when he played Firestorm, and somebody else will play him eventually, even like I think Chris Hemsworth started voicing Optimus Prime. Eventually somebody besides Peter Cullen will voice Optimus Prime. And I think in cases like those, that's why I don't personally like celebrity. Now, I will say one thing that I am looking at. So William Shatner is going to be there. So I am taking. There's a variant cover of World's Finest where William Shatner appears on the cover. So I'm taking that with me, and then I'm also taking William Shatner's Tech World. This was a comic book he did back in the 90s, and the character was patterned after him via his T.J. Hooker days. So I'm taking those two books with me. His signature, I want to think, is about $80, so I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I'm still, like I said, I'm going to take it, and I can make the final decision once I'm there. So, let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. So getting a creator or an artist to sign, I think that's much more worth it. But understand that even though a lot of us may be signature chasers and hunters, the majority of comic book fans, like if you're thinking of investment or retail value, the largest percentage of comic book fans prefer a high grade unsigned book. So raw. If you want to look at the largest percentage of buyers, those are the quadrants that you're looking at. High grade, raw, unsigned. So that factor that in if you have a high dollar, like this is about $100 book in the grade that it's in, and it doesn't even need a press to come back as a 9.6. But again, it's going to be up to each and every individual and what they do. Mr. Collector says, I like to go to each booth and see what books I'm looking for and keep it in my notes with the grade and price and figure out what books make more sense to get the best deal. Yeah. If you're at a convention primarily to shop for books, yeah, there's definitely you want to get the lay of the land, go from booth to booth, see what's out there. I still remember the year I went to Comic Palooza, and every single booth had a copy of Ultimate Fallout 4 for around $100. I wish I had gone through and bought all of them, but I just I was so cheap at that time. Then this fun fact, the CGC 9.8 I have, I think I paid like $25 for it, raw. And then I had it pressed and cleaned and graded, which added another $35. All in. So yeah, that's the way to, but yeah, I mean, keep an eye out. Wolverado says, nice. Bomb Tier Collector says, for me, signatures and the chance to meet up with friends or people in the community is why I'll go to a convention. Otherwise, I have to go to an LCS for free to shop for books. That's true. That's very true. That's very true. But some people like shopping at conventions as well. Because again, one of the neat things is I have found a lot of great deals on good books at conventions because those dealers came to sell. Just remember that. Above all, when it comes to negotiating, they came to sell. But if you hit them up on Sunday and they haven't sold them much, yeah, a lot of them will just be frustrated and angry, and they'll be, even if they have overpriced books, they're not thinking that way, unfortunately. So yeah, so just keep those in mind. So I hope all this is helping folks. Should there be cosplaying? So here's the deal. If I was going just to interact with my fellow fans, if I was just going for that, I might consider cosplaying. The problem with cosplaying is that is going to add an extra layer of stuff that I have to keep track of, so I don't cosplay. I will absolutely wear a T-shirt. This is a T-shirt from the Pop Culture Strictly Con. So I will absolutely wear one of my comic T-shirts, or even a nicer button-down shirt, which I recommend that sometimes for the first day. But yeah, I don't cosplay really, and not because I have anything against it, but just because I can't keep up with all that stuff. So let's see. I'm actually okay. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Okay, Mr. Collector, I don't pass on any book I'm looking for if the price and condition are to my liking. However, if I think it's overpriced, it's getting put back. True. Very good.
Nice.
All right. Oh wait, he says, for me, signatures and the chance to. Okay, yeah, here I already read that one. I think convention markup is starting to not be such a firm thing anymore. I don't believe in convention markup. I really don't. I don't think that. I mean, I think sometimes some dealers might do that, but the reality is, if you do that first walk around, you're going to know who's marking their books up over fair market value, and just don't shop there. That's what I love is the competition. It's only good for the buyer. So, Mr. Collector says, I'm dressing up as Comfortable Man. Yeah, I like that character too. Carlos as Batman or Zorro? I would absolutely go as Zorro because future Batman would be going as Batman. I can't match his Batman costume. I think we're going to do some skit videos with him in the suit. So, hey girls, y'all around? Y'all want to come over here? Okay. I told the girls that I'd have them pop on, and so we're going to have them get here, and I'm going to ask them what's the thing they're each looking forward to the most. Okay, so this is Scarlett. Scarlett is 10. Scarlett, what's the thing?
You need to do that.
Listen to this. You hear this? She's like, hey. Okay, so Scarlett, what are you looking forward to most at the convention?
I seen what's his name from Jaws?
Oh, okay. So I let them watch, much to my wife's disliking, I let them watch Jaws for the first time this past week. They had seen worse stuff.
But I don't know.
Okay. They had seen worse stuff, prior. But I let them watch Jaws.
We've watched the Meg.
Okay. All right. So then I told them that Richard Dreyfuss from Jaws would be there on Friday night. So now they're bugging me to take them with me, or to take her with me on Friday as well as Saturday. Saturday was supposed to be my day with them. So you're looking forward to seeing Richard Dreyfuss?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you looking forward to, what's the number one thing you're looking to buy?
To buy?
Mm-hmm. That you didn't get last year?
My golden Pokeball.
A golden Pokeball. So if any of you see a golden Pokeball, that's what she's looking for.
Yeah. Because last year I was at a comic convention and I saw this wheel. And there's a random, it was random. So it's $5 for each round. So I kept going until I had no money left. And then I saw this golden Pokeball that was $15. And
she didn't have any money left. She was very upset. And she didn't get the Pokeball. But Daddy told her, I said, look, we will find another golden Pokeball for under $20.
She said if it's under $20, then he'll buy
there we go.
He'll buy it for me. If it's over $20, wait, no.
You have to use your allowance.
Yeah, I have to use my allowance.
They've been saving up for about 4 months now. So they both got a stack.
I got
cash.
$50. At least $50. I'm
all right.
broke, guys.
So Mr. Collector says she's looking for an ultimate Fallout 4 1 in 25. All right, okay. This is Amy. She's got one of my which dog is that? No, he doesn't need to be on camera. No, put him down. She's got one of the dogs here. This is not one of our dogs. This is not our dog. We don't have. No, I don't want to.
Okay.
Okay. This is Amy. She's 9. And then what are you most looking forward to at the convention?
Buying toys.
Buying toys. There you go. All right. You looking forward to the Kid Zone?
Mm-hmm.
No. What about the button quest? No? Okay, she just wants to buy toys. That's what she's looking forward to. All right. So All right. Let's see. Bottom tier collector says, my 6-year-old son and I started the extended Lord of the Rings movies. I hope I'm not a bad influence. Jaws is not, for all of us that are older, it's scarier. But so as y'all know, the girls were with us in foster care for 2 years, and then we just recently adopted them. So now they can actually, we can show their faces on social media. So they are adopted and they are fully ours. Well, in their previous life, they had seen some movies that we probably wouldn't have shown them at this age. So now, it's kind of a case by case thing. Jaws is actually a relatively tame movie, and I had good conversations with them before and after to make sure they understand. And I showed them behind the scenes photos, which helped, and the fact that both of them said the shark looks fake. There's people that said that when it came out. So they saw Jaws for the first time, and yeah, I've just we just kind of make it a point to make sure and talk through it with them and help them process it, and obviously not show them stuff that's too, kind of out there. Okay, so I think we've got all those. Okay, can you take your own pictures of celebrities and artists? This is something where almost all celebrities will charge you for either a photo experience, which is the kind where you're up against a backdrop with them, or a table photo. It's called a table photo. It's really cheaper, and it's the kind of selfie where somebody there will take it for you of you with those with that celebrity or whoever. The deal is those are going to be cheaper. The cheaper way to go if you want a photo with them. But almost all celebrities will charge for photos. Comic creators, it varies, and voice actors, it varies. The G.I. Joe cast that I met from the original cartoon was all over the place in terms of pricing. One of them wanted she wanted like $40 for a photo with her, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, that's too much. That's just way too much. And then but then some of them were like, yeah, let's take one for free. Come on. So it really varies. It varies wildly. It also varies on how much the alcohol they've consumed, and also on if they're having a convention experience. Because sometimes if they're not having a good convention experience and they're in a bad mood, well, you can't really do anything about that. Last thing is, how do you get the most out of your convention experience? And then I'm going to talk for just a second about selling comics at a comic convention. How do you get the most out of your convention experience? For me, it comes down to just making a quick list. If I get to do nothing else at this convention experience, what are the top 3 things that I must do for me to consider this successful? Limit it to 3. Write those 3 down, and then go from there. And then you add stuff, but hey, I'm going to get these 3 things done no matter what. For me, at this particular convention, getting Jeff Loeb to sign my Hush hardcover, that's one of the top 3. Getting Art Adams to sign Classic X-Men #1, that's one of my other top 3. And then my third one is having a really good experience with my girls, just focusing on them. Because what happens sometimes, that's why I'm trying to segment the weekend, is I want to get all my kind of stuff done that I want to get done as a YouTuber and as a comic fan. I want to get all that out of the way early and first, and then have at least half of the day on Saturday just to spend with my kids, because they happen to be going with me this year. And in the past with the boys, I didn't necessarily it was all kind of mishmashed. I wish I'd had more time spending just with them, just having fun and just enjoying the convention experience. And, even if you're going by yourself, it's the same thing. Allow yourself to go and enjoy a panel and, maybe mark one of the panels. I think one of my other top 3 things, another thing would be seeing Richard Dreyfuss and hearing him talk about the experience, So, it just changes for everybody. Let's see. General Jedi chimed in with, photos and autographs are crazy expensive now. That's true. I'm heading to Washington State Summer Con soon, and I couldn't believe the prices when I looked. hey, it's everybody. The prices are much higher. They used to sign for free, but the problem is that you have a bunch of people that have started flipping comic books, and I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying that, not everybody was meant to be a dealer. Comics are for everybody. I saw somebody post some video saying that comics are not for everybody, and that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I couldn't disagree more. Comics are for everybody. However, dealing comic books and selling comic books is not for everybody. A lot of people just be happy with being a fan, be excited, enjoy it. And that is what like everybody trying to leave meat on the bone. That's what's contributed to these prices going up. Now comic prices are coming back down, but yeah, I don't think they're ever going to go like all the way back down. Mr. Collector, it's a good idea to act like you're walking by the actor or artist and have a friend yell out, "Hey," and when they look up, take the. No, absolutely not. That sounds like the exact type of thing that you and Paul do at a convention. Yeah. Absolutely do not do that. No, that's not. Don't do that. Most comic creators will take a picture with you for free. Most of them, yeah, almost. I've never had a comic creator say that they would charge me money for a photo, especially if I was buying stuff or paying them for autographs. Bottom tier collector says, the original 1987 TMNT cartoon voice actors are going to be at MyCon. I bought a poster to get signed. Once I figured out that would be $200, I went ahead and framed and mounted the poster. Hey, I understand that. Here's one thing. So my wife told me this. Yesterday because I was going over budget and I was ordering merch for the channel, and she said, "Hey, what's going to be the thing that has the biggest positive impact for you in 2 years? If you go a little bit over budget, cut back in other areas, because most of us have areas that we can cut back in. Because think about it. If you cut out 2 streaming services for 3 to 6 months, that's over $100 right there, well over $100, and that could pay for the Frank Miller experience if that happens to be your thing." So let's see. Mr. General Jedi says, I remember paying like 20 to 30 at most back in the day, then just hanging out with Peter Mayhew for like 30 minutes chatting at STC. He was such a sweet guy. Such a sweet guy. Yeah, I think budget $20 and it'll make up for it based on some being lower, some being higher, and you cutting out books that you don't really need to get signed. Not everyone needs to be selling. That's true. Buyers of comics are just as, if not more. Hey, look, buyers of comics are the most important thing. If everybody's just trying to resell, then it's not healthy for the hobby at all. General Jai says, I'm planning to get autos from 4 voice actors on a poster from the Clone Wars, and it's going to add up to like 300. Hey, listen, here's the thing. You're a huge Star Wars fan, so let me just tell you, do that without any guilt. Spend a little bit of money on your hobby that you love, on a prized possession that you're going to be happy with up on the wall. Go ahead and spend that money, okay? But make up for it in other ways. Cut back on eating out, or coffees, or all the kind of smaller things that we spend money on. Cut back on this thing or that thing, or I've been cutting back on buying comics for a while now to make sure that this convention that I could get what I wanted. And even then, like I showed you, this entire short box, less than half of it's actually getting signed, probably not even a third of it. So I'm just taking them to have them just in case. All right, JT, would you be my camera guy for Frank Miller? LOL.
No.
No, that's
really not.
Hard no. All right, Volunteer Collector. I paid $5 a book for Chris Claremont. Chris Claremont. Oh man, he's such a gem, because he was having such a blast, and he would be telling stories to like the whole line. It was like just this ongoing, rotating conversation, and it was so cool. Like he knows how to work conventions, man. Some of them don't know how. I won't mention them, but I will never worry about their autograph again. But a lot, he just knew how to work that line, and he would be talking to the people like 6-7 people away, and then going back to signing, snapping pictures. doing all of it. He's just such a gem. Great guy. All right, General Jedi. Yeah, I've stopped by All Comics for about a year to prep for this trip. Flights alone blew the annual. Hey, who are you telling? Yeah. All right. Okay, Volunteer Collectors. I've started a legit rigid budget that goes into a honeypot separate from my main bank. Yes, that's it. Yep. Good job. Let me suggest PayPal. PayPal's a great no-fee way to store your money. You can get debit cards with it now. You can get it set up so you can use that debit card either for purchases or you can use it like at an ATM to withdraw the cash before you go to the convention. PayPal, it's a great way to go. I've switched to just PayPal now. Yeah, so those are some other great tips. Okay, real quick, for those who are interested in selling, and then we're going to wrap it up after this. For those who are interested in selling at a comic convention, JT, I'm going to switch it to single view for just a minute here. All right, so if you're interested in selling at a comic convention, here's a couple of things, because I've sold at conventions as well. Here's a couple of things I would share with you. Number one, make the decision, do you want to commit that entire weekend to just being there at your booth? Okay, do you want to commit the resources to it? Do you want to commit the time to it? Because you won't get to enjoy the convention. That's why I don't buy booths I've had massive booth setups for different shows and other stuff that I've created, like in the media space at comic conventions, and it's brutal. Conducting panels, conducting screenings, making sure that the booth was manned, making sure that all the actors showed up where they needed to, just all that stuff, keeping up with it. It's brutal. I've gone to small conventions with my son when he was much younger and set up at them. And yeah, I mean, I've sold a few bucks here and there, but at the end of the day, what I decided was it just wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it for me. Okay, because there wasn't enough money in it to make it worthwhile carrying those boxes in and out, set up, making sure I had everything that I needed, bags, boards, change, the square reader, all that stuff. Okay, so number one, do you really want to commit to selling books at a convention? Okay, number two, start small. Start at a small local convention that's free to set up, free or maybe like 25 bucks, and set up there first and see how it goes. Get a feel for it. Get a feel for selling to people. Get a feel for how you make it through the day. Get a feel, just get a feel for it and decide if, how you like it. Because a big convention where you're spending $400, $500, $600 or more on a table on one booth, that's a big commitment. And you don't want to find out there that you're not really into this and you don't like it and you're not making any kind of money at it. You want to make sure that you're into it. So that's those first two. Make sure that you really want to be doing it. Second, start small. And third, the thing I would say is if you're going to do it, commit to it and do multiple ones at multiple sizes. Don't do just one or two and give up. Keep pushing through it, and decide if it's something that you want to continue with. Now, with selling at cons, the one thing I can say, presentation is everything. Okay, some of the best dealers are the ones where every book is in a Mylar or one of the really nice poly bags. Every book has a brand new backer board. Every book has its own. Has fresh new sticker pricing on it. The books are easy to find. The books are easy to go through. I don't want to pull out books and find those gummy like the way the poly bags you get when they've been in the same bag, when the comic's been in the same bag for like 10 years, 20 years. Presentation is everything, especially the wall books. Don't have one of those sagging display walls that looks cheap and cheesy and is sagging in the middle and looks like it's about to fall over, and you're using bungees to hold the books on the wall. Don't do that. If you want to see an example of how to do a booth right, like if you're going to do it right. And if you want to see how to do it right, go follow on Instagram the man behind the red hood, at the man behind the red. Let me make sure I'm saying it right. I'm looking for, I should have had him pulled up right now. Now, did he change his name? Okay. Yeah. So it's the man behind the red hood on Instagram. That's his logo. Go check him out. Scroll through his Instagram feed and look at the way he sets up a booth. If you're going to go and do it right. And he does it right. Like his booth setup he's not a shop. He is not a shop. He is just a very high level dealer, very high level. Used to work for Torpedo Comics, and now he's doing his own thing. And he's got 11,000 followers on Instagram. He has his own app. He has his own website, web store. And his convention setups are just like, they're dynamite. There's one of them right there. And that's not even one of the really, really nice ones. But I mean, if you're going to do it right. So, don't scrimp on it. That's why I say really decide if you want to do it, because it's going to cost money to get set up to do it. And you can take money from selling your comics to figure it out. But yeah, so that's the deal with selling for comics. I think that's really the only other thing. I mean, obviously, you have to have all the hot books to be able to sell successfully. You have to have the books that everybody wants to see. I see a lot of online auctions. The biggest mistake they make is that they're trying to sell books that nobody cares about, and that's just the reality of it. It's like you have to have the hot books that people want right now, and you got to have multiples of them, and you got to have, you've got to have some real bling up on that wall. Like your wall books have to be actual wall books. They can't be just a bunch of old, Silver Age books that you think, oh, they're Silver Age, so they're worth something. No, man, it's like it's got to be like you really got to come to play. So I see when I started talking about selling when I started saying all this, the viewership dropped. People are like, I don't want to hear it. All right. What's up, Louis V? Good to see you, buddy. Glad that you're here. All right. So JT, so those are just some things, man. Sir, tell me, what are the things you're most excited about for this convention?
Man, I'm excited. Just first of all, just to be there, see the crowd, see a bigger type of show. Definitely the signatures, Art Adams, of course. Who else did I say? Kirby.
Wait, who?
Adam Cubitt.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely him.
Yeah.
Those are my two main focus. So definitely want to see them. I got me a half of a short box. I'm gonna go through it again, make sure it's worth taking for signatures, like you said. So I learned a lot. Budget at least $20, per person.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get some cheaper stuff. We'll see. Man, learned a lot today just from you, so I appreciate that. I'm definitely gonna take a backpack and walk that floor first to see.
Yeah.
Any big decisions.
That was the story that Scarlett, my 10-year-old, was telling. So she at that convention, there was a guy who was selling Pokemon cards. She's big on Pokemon cards. He had one of those wheel things. You paid $5, you spin the wheel, and you would win like a pack of Pokemon cards.
Right.
I don't think a pack of cards is worth $5, but she was going nuts over it. I kept telling her, sweetie, you haven't walked the floor. You don't know what else is out there. Remember, if you spend all your money here, I'm not giving you more to spend at a different booth. What happens? She spends all her money. We get around to this other booth. I'm looking at some comics, and she comes up to me and she said, "Daddy, there's a golden Pokeball, and I just have to have it. Can I have $20?" No. I mean, and
hard lesson to learn.
Yeah, hard lesson. Tears were shed, frowns were given, but all was made okay. But she did not get the $20, and she didn't get the golden Pokeball. Because I told her, I said, no, sweetie. I said, but you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to, because she has a thing with instant gratification, and we're working on that. So I told them, yeah, walk that floor and figure out what you really want. And hey, you know, like another thing I'm doing is I'm balancing right now budget wise, because the G.I. Joe Compendium Kickstarter went live a few days ago. The entire G.I. Joe run, leather-bound hardback, is $300, JT. It's $300.
And you have to have it.
I don't know.
You're not sure yet?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Because what I really need, I don't need a huge hardcover to try to read. What I need is the entire run on my iPad, which is where I read all my favorite comic runs. Like I collect the individual issues, then I'll get a collected edition, and if I really, really love it, I'll buy it on Kindle and put it on my iPad. And that's how I read it, like day in, day out. Because even as these hardbacks start getting signed, I want to handle them less, you know?
Right.
So, okay. Bontier Collector says, I've contemplated starting a GoFundMe for that compendium set. It's a good deal as high as that price is. You know, honestly, it is a good deal because I spent way more on my G.I. Joe run and getting a bunch of them signed by Larry Hama. You can't get the book plate with Larry Hama's signature anymore because that was only the first 150 people. Do you know I'm going to say this real quick. That thing, within the first 6 minutes of the campaign, it was fully funded. They are thousands of % over the goal. Like they're so far over the goal. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be a huge hit. I knew it. And they haven't even broken all their stretch goals. They've got more than half the stretch goals still left. Anyway, okay. That has nothing to do with convention. All right. So, hey, if you are going to a convention, this big shout out. Okay. So JT, say final thoughts and shout outs to everybody. Then we're going to wrap it up.
All right. Appreciate you guys coming out, seeing us, hearing Carlos, give us some gems right there. Thank you, Carlos, for having me. ComicBookFiendClub.com if y'all want to check out the club. Again, it's just a social club. We do a lot of fundraisers as well and help the community. So check that out.
Awesome. Always fun having you. Hey, for everybody that tuned in tonight, thanks so much for coming out on a Friday night. I promise we're going to start dropping more Friday night videos. It's been a while coming because I had to get some things set up and switch over some systems. And it's been a hard couple of days because we're switching over internet at the house also. But I'm looking forward to dropping many more Friday night videos, including unboxings, some haul videos, top 10 lists. There's a ton of those coming. Including Superman, X-Men, Deadpool, a whole bunch of popular characters. I'm going to be dropping them. Make sure and check out the channel. All the other videos that I've got on here. There's plenty more that you can check out. Also, make sure to continue watching for our for our coverage of Fan Expo Dallas. We'll be there, and that'll be the big convention that we cover this year. Let's see. Bottom Tier Collector says, love seeing you on camera, JT. I've seen that Fiend Club vest around. I'll check the website. There you go. You might have gotten you a new member there, JT.
Yeah.
But he also says when those compendiums go out of print, they'll be $300 a book on eBay. No doubt. The markup will be heavy on those things. Yeah. So if you have any interest in it, I'll talk about it on the giveaway show on Wednesday. But next Wednesday, but yeah, big one. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Yeah, this upcoming Wednesday, Versus Part 3, we're going to be going over some of the craziest matchups you've ever seen in fandom. We're going to be matching up all kinds of crazy combinations. So we'll have special guest stars there as well to argue with Paul because he just wants to argue with whoever about whatever. He doesn't even care. He doesn't even believe what he says, but he's going to do it. All right, so make sure that you tune in Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central for the giveaway show. I'll also be dropping multiple surveys under the community tab, and consider joining if you're not currently a channel member because those perks are all going to get revised very soon. The month of June, they're going to be revised, and there will be a lot more stuff being added to each of the tiers. So y'all make sure and stay tuned for that. Thanks again for being here tonight and for tuning in. As always, it is a huge honor to have you hanging out and spending your time with us. Shout out also to Lone Star Heroes, Comics and Toys, 3 convenient locations in the greater Houston area, and Press Niche Worldwide, who handles comic book pressing, cleaning, and CGC submissions. Those are our channel sponsors, and we are eternally grateful to them. Currently, also, like I said, make sure to keep an eye out for the top 10 Superman comics video that is, I promise, coming soon. All right. I'm Carlos Collects Comics. It's been great. Make sure to hit that like button. Drop a comment below. Is there anything, you have any other questions left, or did I cover everything? I'd love to hear from you. I still try to answer every single question and comment that comes through on the channel. And like I said, this is one of the highlights of my week, getting to hang out with each and every one of you. So thanks for being here. Y'all take care. Make sure to have a great night, and let me know how your next comic convention experience goes. We'll see you there. Take care.